Oh, it's time for that gratitude list for the week. Motivation Monday, 7:58 p.m., March 31st, 2025. And my meditation. I'll start off with my meditation out of Leave No One Behind. Let me get there. Okay, I have it in my Kindle. I do have the digital version, and I like it because you can scroll and find the date in the table of contents real easily. And so, March 31st, facing the truth. When I came home from the Navy, I went to some Al Anon and NA meetings, trying to understand my husband's crack addiction. I'd leave because it always sounded like they were talking about me. And I wasn't ready to admit I was an alcoholic. Denial, for sure. And topic I chose, I did share a meeting today, and topic I chose was page 328 of the fourth edition of Alcoholics Anonymous, the story Crossing the River of Denial. Very good story, especially the beginning. I was making good money at my job, and my husband was spending it on his habit, so I convinced myself the problem was money, that maybe the addiction would go away if I didn't have money. So when my company was laying off people, I asked to be laid off. I could go back to somewhere else and start my life over. That was the beginning. My denial, and this whole process in the meditation, my sixth meditation is crossing that river, right? And I love, you know, um, the river. I love the theme of the river in many songs, movies, like A River Runs Through It, Robert Redford. Yes. Um, my husband and I separated, and I was moved with my kids elsewhere. I was happy for a while. Then I had to get a job at a factory to pay bills. It wasn't enough, so I got a second job, first as a receptionist and eventually as a stripper. And then my alcoholism went into full swing. And so the prayer, I will no longer run from my problems, because alcoholism has taught me the harder you run away, the more likely it is that you will fall, usually into the belly of a well. I am Jonah. Warrior Priest, U.S. Navy, 1989 to 1995. So, yeah, this is usually March 31st. Is like I said in my previous podcast, um, on a leap year, I would start with, February 29 is my meditation. So most years it's 5 meditations, March 31st, May 31st, July 31st, August 31st, and then October 30th, because my husband did pass away on Halloween 31st, and Hazelden had a way of respecting his memory. And so 5 meditations, and then 6 meditations for leap year. And it's true, you know. Aries rising is where I begin with my denial. And I go through that cycle every year, 31st, then the fourth month, starting with April Fool's Day. Who'd have thunk? Going straight into my step 4 inventory, and I have a whole month to do it. So I'm looking forward to that this year. However, by the 31st, God concept, coming out of third step and going immediately into the fourth step. So, I'll read that, and I will read that with, actually, I've always been fond, I'll look it up real quick. I've always been fond of Dr. Bob's third step prayer. I'll go ahead and type that in my search real quick. Dr. Bob's third step prayer. His original third step prayer. Let's look at that. So this is the third step prayer used by Dr. Bob. And I'm taking this off of soberrecovery.com. Let me go ahead and subscribe. Okay, so this is from Day Trader. And this is taken from the AA History, the third step in your prayer. Anyway, dear God, and I've been praying to Artemis, which Artemis is Greek for Diana, which is Roman, and Diana had priestesses that worshipped Diana, and they were referenced in the books of Corinthians in the canon, what you know as today's Holy Bible. Okay, so dear Artemis, I'm sorry about the mess I've made of my life. I want to turn away from all the wrong things I've ever done and on all the wrong things I've ever been. Please forgive me for it all. I know you have the power to change my life and can turn me into a winner. And I know that's true because the Greeks and Greek mythology all stem from the belief in Stoicism. And my dad is such a Stoic, so I know that Stoicism is very, like, it is a concept in spirituality that's been practiced by many African American males. They were taught that. Okay. So I know I can turn into a winner at the way I view my father. Thank you, Artemis, for getting my attention long enough to interest me in trying it your way. And that's the thing, my relationship with Artemis. Yeah, I've been bucking the system in Christian faith so much, where I think the word is I get offended, but usually the word triggered is used, but I get offended when, my belief system as a priestess does get challenged. So I do, my blood pressure starts rising. So Artemis, please take over the management of my life And she can, with the help of Mercury, first planet. And everything about me, and pretty evident, my ruling planet is Mars. And my Aries, since I'm Aries rising, and Mars is the god of war. So please, Artemis, move into my heart. However you do it is your business, but make yourself real inside of me and feel my awful emptiness. Fill me with your love and Holy Spirit. Yeah, I believe she does have a guiding spirit, or women, priestesses, would not have worshipped her. And make me know your will for me. And know, Artemis, and now, Artemis, help yourself to me and keep on doing it. I'm not sure I want you to. Yeah. It's always, yeah. Especially, you have Zeus and then you have the lesser gods. Sometimes it's hard to dedicate to a lesser god. Um, but do it anyhow, right? To establish that relationship. Sometimes it's easier for me to establish something lesser to get a concept, a bigger picture, right? So I rejoice that I'm now a part of your people, been for a long time, that my uncertainty is gone forever. It's getting better after 19 years. And that you now have control of my will and my life. Thank you. And I praise your name, Artemis. Amen. And just a note, absolutely one of the strongest prayers I've ever read in AA for me. Hope you guys like it. Yes, I had it posted above my bed for the longest time. And not many people know that, Dr. Bob had a different prayer. He was medicine. And so, like, in the year of the snake, I really is those years that I really get into my healthcare. Water snake, year of the water snake, it was all mental. So, year of the wooden, it's getting down into the physical, right? Starting, and actually this time looking at my heart. So, whew, a lot. So, now I go into, um, there's an app I have called Human Design, and this, you might know as Stella, right? Made by Human Design. And this is just an app that does all types of spirituality based around birth charts, and puts it all together and then comes up with a summation. So we're looking at the center, which is the mind center, and mine is defined. So these are centered around my thoughts, ideas, and insights, which is pretty much what we deal with in step 11. Why I'm Solomon 11. Why, you know, when I got on LinkedIn, yes, in November 2023, the concept of Solomon 11. And now I'm turning that into a nonprofit. So, the mind is where information is constantly distilled. Great language. From the crown. Okay, I'm listening. And filtered to reach understanding. Wow, what a line for an alcoholic. man. Okay, gotcha. It feels as though the crown is pressuring it. Man, more guided imagery. Urging it to, in quotes, work it out. How many times have I said that in a meeting? As one of the three awareness centers, so the mind center is just one of three awareness centers. The mind is always a work in progress, with worries and anxieties sometimes festering within it. The mental wheels never stop turning as the mind ponders the past and tries to relate to the present and future. So, yeah, in meditation, the mind will ponder the past and try to establish a relationship to the present and future. This center is associated with the pituitary gland, which is located at the front of the brain. In Eastern cultures, this gland is referred to as, quotation marks, the third eye. And Tool does after I get through with this, I'll do, watch the video, Third Eye by Tool. Very, very great. Or the mystical eye of knowledge. All right. It's not surprising then that it's associated with a center that interprets inspiration and helps you, quote, see what you need to learn or understand. Third eye. That's what the pituitary gland does. Okay? So, my birth chart, your mind is defined. Your mind is like a built in hard drive that's constantly worrying, processing, and backing up information. I'm an electronics tech by trade, thanks to the United States Navy. Got it. It's essentially a human computer that's always comparing, reviewing, and researching. Whether you're in school or at work, you're probably experienced you have probably experienced the feeling of overload when your head is full of facts and knowledge. Oh my god. You know, it spills out into my environment, right? Spills out as clutter into my environment. However, when you put your mind to something, focusing, you work it out and move on to the next thing. So, since my mind's divined, focusing, which I'm starting to do with Whole Health Psychiatry through Big Springs, and my doctor is Dr. Hadid, focusing. You work it out and move on to the next thing. So, I work it out and I move on to the next thing. So, some people, such as troubleshooters and consultants, are naturally wired this way. And as an electronics tech, I was a troubleshooter. On the other hand, you might be a professional worrier and nitpicker. Yes, I'm a pro. I got documentation to prove it. And I'm always building a case, right? Constantly looking for problems that aren't there. Every person, pretty much, it's except for the one I'm dating now, Um, but, yes, I've been told that. I'm always constantly looking for problems that aren't there. One guy even calls it MSU. I was like, what's that? He goes, making shit up. So I'm not making shit up. I'm reading it. When people tell you you're worrying about nothing or stop worrying about things that haven't happened yet. Okay. So you're worrying about nothing. That's my relational, that. So if someone tells me that, I'm in the present and um making shit up. Okay. And then, or stop worrying about things that haven't happened yet. Okay. So that's my relation to the future. And it's usually fear based because I just don't know. It's uncertainty. So, how I handle uncertainty, um, it's a sign that you have a defined mind. So, it's like, great. Finally. Okay. Yeah. Just tell me what my mind is. Go ahead and put a label on it. I love label makers. I have bought so many from the time they used to punch them. Now they're electronic. I just need a label other than good or bad. Just give me a label. Just keep morality out of it with me. Okay. Um, you can't simply turn off your thoughts and worry. I cannot. That's what I try to tell people. I can't shut it down, okay? But now a solution with okay? But meditation can help quiet your mind. Matter of fact, I have a book around here just entitled Quiet, okay? And distance, detachment, maybe detachment, and then a high level detachment with love in the rooms of Al Anon, right? Distance yourself from racing thoughts. Okay, so um, it's not just people; it's just my thoughts, and they're usually about people. Okay, that are always racing, and that's my Leo moon. You have a consistent way of thinking. Yes, I do. And this is pretty much why I do these things, why I do these podcasts. This is, the unpacking of my thoughts, my ideas, and insights, right? That's why I do this. That's why I do the Visket method. Pray out loud. And you approach problems and questions in the same way every time. Thank you. Yes, I'm consistent. Steady progress. Yes, I do it the same way every time. And that's why Alcoholics Anonymous 12-step program works for me because it demands consistency, right? And I wanted to go to a meeting tonight. However, I knew deep down inside, normally I would be in class, right? And it would be ending right now. So, inconsistency, I'm making my own curriculum and praying out loud to build that relationship because I'm building that relationship with my present. I got out of a class. Now I'm getting into a new one. through a accredited university, American Public University, and they have a degree plan for a Bachelor's of Science in Homeland Security. All right. You know, obviously, biblical humanities ain't going to work for me with this defined mind that I have. And I had to go through that to get to here. So, wham bam, thank you, ma'am, Artemis. So, today I'm very grateful because it works for me. The stars work for me. Greek mythology works for me because Stoicism works for my dad. I just like the mythology behind it. He liked the practice of it. So, like my father, but my father is a Virgo, so he likes the system of things. And as a Taurus sun, I'm all about the finer things of life. All right. So, so hopefully you really enjoyed some of these logos I through the video um for Solomon 11. Aries rising, Taurus sun, and Leo moon is Solomon. 11 is prayer meditation, and my vision. Document and track, in quotation marks, legitimate self-interest in B2B, business to business. Man, that is so wide open that I want it to be a trade organization, right? And that's where I'm at. And it just took courage like 2 weeks ago to say, hey man, what I was doing is not working. See you later. Bye. And 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks from then, it gets better, right? It gets better. Um, it gets better. So with that, I will end. Peace out.